Good day. I will be talking about the Uruk Platform with a focus on managing a project element. First, we need to discuss what is the Uruk Platform. As you notice on the screen, the Uruk Platform will consist of 5 major elements. These are governance, managing the portfolio, managing a project, administrative, and community of practice. The color coding here to indicate that the green are the areas that will be included with the initial product release that should be happening soon. However, in this short presentation, I will be focusing on managing a project element. So the next few slides will stay on this part only. If we have a very high level overview of the element that is managing a project element, you don't have to go through all the detail on the screen because we will explain them on the next few slides, is that basically the Uruk Platform managing a project element, which is, we believe, at the core of the platform, consists of 4 areas. If we break it down into what logical grouping, the first group of action is what we call project setup. Then we go into the PLC management, which is the green. Then we have the project management functions. And what we're showing here only the high level. We will show more detail later. And there are other project management action. These are the type of actions that has to happen on a project as we manage it from concept to closure. So 4 areas: setup, PLC management, managing the project management function, and there are some other action that are needed. If we zoom in on one by one, the project setup are only 4 elements here, which is basically what this is required is to set up a project inside the Uruk Platform. So the first thing we have to do is basically add a new project to the platform. And usually that including entering the project title, the sponsor, and some other relevant information. On the setup of the project form, that there will be much more than these items that I listed here. However, what's critical is to obviously enter the project title and the sponsor and a couple of other relevant points. Other information could be added later by the project manager. So first step, set up the project into the system. Once that's done, the project goes into something we call the parking lot. And that is the area where all the projects that are in the system that will reside. But that project will be inactive. So basically, it's just sitting there. We cannot do anything about it until a sponsor, a project sponsor, will activate that project. So whenever that the organization is ready to start work on a project, they will go into the parking lot. The project will, this project sponsor will go in, that has been named in the when we enter the project setup, will activate the project, and at that time we typically assign it to a project manager. Even in the early stages, when we talk about the concept stage, we need to assign a project manager. Now, this project manager doesn't have to be a highly qualified, certified, whatever the case, project manager. Just basically what we need to have a role in the system called the project manager, which would be the person responsible to do the work within a given stage. So when we start the project, we need to name a project manager, and then the project manager will be notified and will go into the system accessing the new project. The project manager can edit any information in the system that, or add information that is missing, and then we'll have to select a tailored method. In the initial product, we'll have only one tailored method, but down the road, there will be many tailored methods. So the project manager would have to select the tailored method that is most appropriate to her project. In addition to selecting a tailored method, SUKAD will be providing a schedule templates. For each tailored method, there will be an associated schedule template in MS Project. So the project manager can download that template, the appropriate template, and modify it for the project information, such as project start date and any other relevant information. With that, the project would be set up. So basically now we have a project in the system, it's active, we have a tailored method, and the tailored method would give us a project lifecycle. Now, what you see here is the standard project lifecycle per camp, which mean obviously if you have a different tailored method, the tailored method could have different stages. The standard method in SUKAD, the standard model, include 9 stages that you can see here, starting with the concept stage and going around the circle. So the PLC management, the project lifecycle management, is basically about managing the project from start all the way to the end, from idea to closure, and even beyond, as we can see later. Now, this is based on the CAMP methodological approach that SUKAD have developed, and as I've already said, this is a CAMP standard model, which means different tailored method could have different stages, could have more or less stages, could have stages with different names, and any other information that would be relevant to that specific bespoke tailored method. What we'll be providing in Uruk is that workflow. So basically how you go across the life cycle from beginning to end again. So we'll provide the workflow, which include all the templates for the stage deliverable and the stage gate. Technically, every stage must have at least one stage deliverable. For example, the concept stage will have a document called project brief. At the end of the feasibility stage, we will have 2 documents. We'll have the feasibility study report, and then once the project is approved, we have a project authorization document. So technically, at every stage must have at least one stage deliverable, which have to go through a stage gate for management to decide whether to approve it or not, and whether to continue with the project or not. Uruk will also include the stage management processes. For some of the smaller projects, the stage management processes could be very basic. For the larger, more complex project, the stage management processes could be substantial, which we will not be discussing in this presentation today. Now, okay, we set up the project. I'm going to repeat a little bit. We set up the project. We are managing the life cycle. Now, from the moment the project starts, from the concept stage, as we go through the stages, there are many other things we have to manage. We have to manage costs, so which mean managing costs, that mean include estimating and cost control. We have to develop schedule and schedule control. We have to define the scope and scope control. There might be changes on the project. There might be many other things. So in this area, it's what we call project management functions, and we group them into 5 areas, what we call the core areas, okay, which is on top, which includes scope management, cost management, schedule management, change management, and earned value management. And we believe these are the core areas to manage any project. These are things that must be in place. Technically, everything should be in place, but these are to us the highest priority. Then we have what we call compliance areas, which is usually where we have to comply with some standard, regulation, guidelines, laws, and that include quality management and health, safety, and environment management. Some people include here security, some people could include sustainability, up to you, right? And the basic standard model, we talk about health, safety, and environment management. Then we have the people aspect, or maybe we need to have a better name for this, and that include managing the team management. It's actually the people who are actually working on the project, that have direct role on the project and usually are billable to the project. So we have to manage the team, whether internal or external. We have stakeholder relationship management, and we have communication management. Initially, we used to have stakeholder management, but I think my friend and colleague Bill Duncan initially and Sandra Hoskins recommended to use the word relationship. So we changed the name to stakeholders relationship management. Then we have communication management. The third group is uncertainty management. We used to call this risk, but we know there are a lot of debate on this one. So for the time being, we are using the placeholder name as uncertainty management, which includes threat management and opportunities management. In the area here, we need to focus that we need to also consider managing the opportunities, which mean learning how to identify them and managing them. The fifth and last group in this circle is the supply chain, that we are using this term, which mean contracting management, which is about contracting services. We have purchasing. I know in many organizations they use the term procurement to combine the two. Here we're separating them. Again, up to you. You combine them or use them as separate. We think they should be separated because the people involved in the skill set and the requirement for purchasing someone often enough is different than contracting, although there are some similarities. And finally, we have what we call resource management, but again, some people use the term resource to include people, but in this case, we are dividing resource management into two areas. We have the team management, which is resourcing the people aspect, and then we have the physical resource management, which includes things like supplies, vehicles, equipment, offices, computers, anything that we need to help us complete the project. As you can see, there are a lot of areas here, 15. If we go down to the lowest level, and down the road, we can add or delete from this based on need and based on the projects, because some project, there might be other areas that might require attention. The color coding here is to reflect that the green is that what will be included with release number 1, but only basic functionality, and the orange is what will be really included with release 1.1, which could be before the end of the year. Timeline wise, release 1 should be happening in October, release 1.1 should be happening toward the end of the year or January timeframe. The blue on the outer circle will be sometime later. A few important comments to add on the functions here. As we mentioned, the function dynamic, we could add or remove. Some item could move to the things that are on the next slide. For example, we had issues management in the previous slide. We had moved it to the next slide based on some of the feedback we collected from input on LinkedIn. In Uruk, we include the basic functionalities and the Uruk initial product, should we say, which means release 1.1 will have basic functionalities. So we're not going to have any fancy cost management module. It will be very basic module, and primarily for us to help us generate the metric and dashboard and reports. Down the road, we should be adding much more substantial modules for each of these functions. Now, this area of action is that initially we used to have it in support function. We were kind of not sure how to place it. Some of it was part of PLC management, but we felt as we have been doing testing and reviews of the software that this should really be independent area. So this is why when we talk about managing the project, we have the setup, we have PLC management, we have the function, and here there are other actions. Now, what are these other actions? Task management, right? And this task management, in every stage we have tasks we have to manage. Issues management. Again, in every stage we have issues that come up we need to manage. Of course, the difference between task management and issues management is task is that things we know what to do. Issues are things that need clarification, need resolution. There might be some issues, and of course, once we decide on what to do with an issue, either remove it will be gone or it will become a task. We have project funding, which could happen at different points along the life cycle. We have the project performance assessment, which is also happen along different points of the life cycle, which is the ongoing assessment of performance of the job, which would include generating the metrics and the dashboard. We have the captured lessons included here, and we have project success module that's included here. Once again, the color coding, all the gray here is that will be with the first release. Again, could be basic functionalities. The orange will be with release 1.1. Now, let me pause for a second. I explain the major component of the managing project element. This is basically in this slide, I am combining all the previous slide, which is basically but using a hierarchy. Again, you can see the project setup with the 4 items below it. Is PLC management with all the stages below it. You see the PM function and you see other PM function. And in here we use color coding as well. Obviously blue is included in the initial release. That doesn't mean it's perfect. There will be obviously always there will be opportunities for enhancement, especially as we start collecting feedback from early adopters. Green here, we use the green to indicate, to confirm that in the initial product we will have only one tailor method, but down the road we will have more. So there will be a selection ability to select the tailor method. And here the orange or dark orange is basically things that will not be with the initial release. They will come up. Some of them will be in release 1.1 and some of them will be future releases. And the light bluish gray, these the cost management, schedule management, change management, and on the other action, the capture lesson, those will be with the initial release, but again, basic functionality. So this way we can you can see basically everything. Earlier we showed them as a wheel, basically let's call it the managing a project wheel, and here we have more of a hierarchy for those people who like to see it in a different view. That's it. It's a very quick presentation. Please connect with us, stay with us in order to get update on what's coming, on the future releases, the future update, and maybe for other actions. For SUKAD, SUKAD Corp is obviously Uruk. We're not two separate companies. Uruk is a division of SUKAD, or is it actually it's a SUKAD Technology Services division. But we are using two brands. So basically, for SUKAD Corp brand, we have the SUKAD website, and we have the SUKAD LinkedIn page. For Uruk Platform, a dedicated to platform, we have a website. Obviously, that website will be totally revamped in the coming weeks as we start to go to market. And then we also have a showcase you can follow. So you can choose whether you want to register on our website or you want to choose to follow one of the LinkedIn pages. And this way you can continue to get update from us about the progress of this magnificent solution. We truly believe, and I have to end with this, we truly believe that the Uruk platform will be the #1 project management solution as we start to go to, I mean, obviously not immediately, but over time, because we believe through Uruk, we will be helping organization transform the way they manage projects. So we are not providing a software tool. Uruk platform is a complete solution that would require us to engage with our customers and partners to build the culture of success in project management. Thank you.